So, thank you very much for inviting me to make this presentation. I'm going to give you a quick overview of the YUNGA program, why it was established, and what we're trying to achieve. So actually, YUNGA was formed in 2009. It actually is a partnership of a number of UN agencies, including FAO, CBD, UNFCCC, and others, civil society organizations, and youth organizations. The main point that we're trying to achieve with YUNGA is to raise awareness at the global issues, empower young people to take action, and create leadership with young people. And most of all, encourage sustainable behavior. So youth is becoming ever more recognized as a key group to work with, because if we're meant to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals and also other national priorities, the best way to actually achieve this is with young people. Young people are the ones that are able to adapt, they're able to make changes on ways that were done in the past. They're strong drivers of change in their community. So we've actually developed a whole program under YUNGA to actually empower young people to really make a difference in their local communities. So let's have a quick look at some of these resources that I mentioned to you. So we have two sets of main resources. One are what we call the challenge badges. These are actually behavioral change badges which are aimed at actually changing the behavior of young people. So young people understand the activities and topics, for example, energy, biodiversity, climate change, oceans, and so forth. They learn about the topic, but then most of all, they learn how to change their behaviors. And then we also have a series of what we call youth guides, which are more comprehensive manuals on different topics. So this is an example that I'm showing you here on biodiversity, but then we also have ones on oceans and forests. And we also have in the pipeline one on climate change. So these books are actually more for schools and formal educational structures, while the challenger badges that we saw before are mainly from the non-formal groups. We also have a series of adult-oriented manuals to complement for teachers and youth leaders, so that they can actually use these raw resources and complement their programs and curricula. For example, we also develop training materials for schools on climate change, for example, in agricultural secondary schools, in universities, and in extension services as well. So let's say we also develop more technical resources for the more agricultural centered programs. And here's an example of the technical materials that I was telling you about. This is what we call the Junior Farm, Field and Life Schools program, where young people are trained in a whole series of agricultural interventions, business schools, areas of business management, market access, and so forth. And here under this program, we develop new programs on climate change, fisheries, and so forth. And these materials then get used in FAO's main programs of junior farm and field schools across the world. So let's have a quick look at where we're actually undertaking programs across the world. Well, I'm just going to give you we have two main ways to provide support. One is national programs. National programs is where we have governments or NGOs or local institutions that want to run a national program with their network or school system. So just to give you some examples, we have this in Costa Rica, Mexico, North Macedonia, and Uruguay, but also many other countries. And then we have what we call local support, where we have local groups, schools or youth groups or so forth that want specific support and create a YUNGA program. And we provide direct support to those groups. So maybe it's not done nationally, but it's done more locally. And of course, Kyrgyzstan will be a brand new national program that is starting now. We also have a program which is called YUNGA Tribes. The YUNGA Tribes specifically is intended for young people to create their own groups. So a group of friends or a group of classmates comes together, they create a tribe, and then they will select a specific topic or area that they want to make a difference and make an impact. And this then becomes the topic of their tribe, and then they will undertake the activities over a period of time to actually achieve real change in their communities. And now all the topics that FAO and YUNGA work with are now related to the Sustainable Development Goals. So we try and have the tribes also let's say, meeting some of the Sustainable Development Goals. And this is a quick slide that I want to show you, which I think is very important in the fact that, young people are actually very well educated on environmental and social issues. This is not actually the problem in today's area, let's say. What's really important is actually creating behavioral change. And this is why we have to be very careful how we tailor our educational programs, because we don't want young people just to be educated, we also want young people to actually change the way they behave themselves, but also have the means of changing the behavior of the people around them in their communities, in their schools and in their families. So YUNGA programs always try and foster this behavior change curriculum and action program. So also one of the areas that we try and do to actually create outreach so that YUNGA is more well known with, let's say, a wider group as possible, is that we have also worked with numerous partners and outreach programs. So for example, we also have a set of YUNGA ambassadors. Some of these are also UN ambassadors, which these are people that are actors, pop stars, singers, sportsmen and so forth, who will actually then promote YUNGA and its activities and specific campaigns. Also, all the resources and materials that we develop under the YUNGA program are done in coordination with UN agencies and other organizations around the world. This ensures that actually all the resources that we develop are actually used and promoted by a much larger group of agencies and organizations than just the YUNGA members and FAO. This ensures that we actually get a large usage of the resources. And then one of the things I should also mention that part of the YUNGA program and part of its members are the Scout and Guide Association. There's actually 40 million scouts in the world and 10 million Girl Guides in the world, and we work very much with them in developing the resources and the actions, so that once these actions have been formulated, then they get uptaken by all the national associations around the world. And then we also for example, participate in major events that these partners organize. For example, the Scouts every 4 years have a World Scout Jamboree, which has a 40,000 people membership. So it's a very large group of people that you can actually interact with in one event. And this can also be done at the national level. So at the national level, we can have national events and where YUNGA comes and presents the materials and resources and gets more people involved. So we can work at both the national, regional and global levels to widen the YUNGA network. So this is just a quick slide showing how many resources that have been requested over the years. It's actually a little bit out of date, this slide now, so it's much higher figures, but as you can see, we actually have a huge amount of interest and partners that want to work on the YUNGA program. So you're actually joining a large family which you can collaborate with. So the next few slides just gives you a few examples of some of the activities that YUNGA, like teams and programs, have been doing around the world. So this is Trinidad and Tobago. They had a YUNGA program which looked very much like agricultural production and nutrition. This is like a picture from a group in Canada that's been doing the biodiversity badge and like studying biodiversity in their local region. This is actually a Girl Guide group in Turkey, which has been very active over the years. We have the engagement of both the Scouts and also schools, and they've been involved in many of the challenges: forest, biodiversity, soils, nutrition, and a lot more. They've actually been part of the program since the beginning in 2010. And here we have another interesting example from Australia of studying, undertaking the soil challenge badge with studying microbes. Here we have another example from Italy, where we have a scout group which is involved in promoting sustainable practices to the community by setting up a tent in the town, in front of the town hall, and engaging with the local public to actually get behavioural change occurring with the local public. So that gives you a quick overview to the YUNGA program, how it works. So we're here to support you and allow you to create your own program for Kyrgyzstan. Each country develops their program in a different way to actually meet the requirements and the needs of their country. And we're very excited that you're starting a new program, and we look forward to working with you, and we're here to answer any questions you may have. So we look forward to collaborating with you on this new adventure.